What's up, YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back with something we haven't done in quite some time. We're going to hunt some quarters. So what you see in front of us is $400 in quarters. These are bank-wrapped rolls. I thought I had a whole box waiting for me at Fifth Third, and when I got there today, they were running light on quarters. They didn't want to give me a full unopened box, so they scrounged around underneath all the tellers' desks, and they were able to give me $400 in stuff that they had already allocated to tellers. So we don't have a full box. We're 10 rolls short, but we're going to make the best of it. I do see that we are circulated. We have lots of 2019s on the enders, and I see some 2020s and even some 2021s. So it looks like we've got some good opportunities to find some W's, and we are circulated. Who knows? We might find some silver. So I'm going to go ahead and get into these rolls, and I will bring you guys in at our first find. And as always, there is a link in the description down below for all of the quarters that we're looking for, whether it be silver, errors, varieties, what have you. The state quarters, lots of errors on it, so this could be a fun hunt. I'm going to jump into it. So we're 10 rolls down. As far as things that I've pulled, let's see here. I put that in the wrong stack. I do have 2 bicentennials out of 10 rolls. And I ended up with a pretty decent looking 1982, which these are pretty hard to find. It's in better than average condition. This is a 1982D. Hanging on to that. But I've pulled a bunch of stuff and just kind of wanted to go over what we're looking for. We've got the Kansas that has the In God We Rust error. And if I find one, I'll bring you in and show you what it looks like. We have the Homestead quarters, which have a number of DDRs. It also has the Snow on the Roof error and the Leaky Bucket error. We have the Wisconsin that I can already tell you this doesn't have it, but I pulled it. There's an extra leaf on the Corn Cob error. We have the Minnesota, which has an extra tree error, and I can already tell you that one doesn't have it just by looking at it. I don't have to put it under the scope, but I pulled it. We also have a 1965, which has a double die obverse, and I have a couple of 66s that have a double die reverse that we'll be checking for. We also have a whole lot of the new 2021 Crossing the Delawares. There are some die chip errors that can be found on this, and a potential DDR that I've covered in other videos. We'll be checking all of our 2021s for that error. And there's also a die chip error on the 2021 Airman quarter. So I'm going to continue to get these. I'll pull them aside. I'll put them under the scope, and I will bring you in if we find anything interesting. But I just wanted to stop here to show you what the stack looked like. I'm going to go ahead and check these now before I get into the next 10 rolls. And hopefully we find something I can bring in and show you. All right. Well, that wraps up the hunt. It was a fairly uneventful $400 in quarters. We did end up with, I believe, 14 bicentennials. We had 5 Denvers, and we had 9 Phillies. We did get an okay-looking 1982 Denver, and I did get gypped by 1 quarter, but at least it was nice enough to make it a copper 1980 penny. We did have 2 additional finds that I found going through, all the coins that I had put aside to check on the end, and I'll put them under the scope here in just a second. But we have a die chip on the hat of Washington, and we have a pretty darn good Leaky Bucket example that you can actually see right here on the camera. It really doesn't need to go under the scope, but I'll put it under there and we'll take a closer look. So let's get over to the computer. So we are going to start with this 2015 Homestead quarter. This is the Leaky Bucket example, and what it is, it's actually a die chip that causes this, but what it's intended to mimic is it's supposed to look like this bucket is leaking water, and there's a die chip here. And this one's kind of interesting because the way that the metal kind of folded up, it does look like water has actually leaked down here underneath the pump, and there's another die chip here. So this is actually one of the cooler examples that I found. Usually it's just a big hunk of metal, but this actually looks like we've got some leaking water. So that's one really good Homestead error that I found. The other one is this 2020 Crossing the Delaware quarter. And I actually did a whole video. I hunted a whole box of these quarters and wasn't convinced that I found anything terribly special in that video. If I remember, I'll add a link to it up in the upper right-hand corner. It'll be up here where I'm waving, well, Yeah, up where I'm kind of waving the mouse here. But right here you can see there's a very small die chip on the hat. I looked on eBay. This is going for anywhere from about $1 to about $5. I saw a couple of listings for like $3.95. I saw a couple around $5 for this little die chip error. There is one that's going for a whole lot of money, and it's a giant die chip. It's like the metal is this huge, almost like fur hat looking thing on top. So if you keep your eye out and you find one of those, that's going for over $100 on eBay. This one, unfortunately, we're probably talking about just a couple of bucks. So anyway, that wraps this quarter. I say quarter box. We were 10 rolls short of a quarter box, but I guess this $400 in quarters, this wraps us up. We had 2 minor finds, lots of bicentennials. I guess I should also mention bicentennials I sell by the roll on eBay, and I usually get about $15 to $18 per roll for those, which is pretty good. So I always pull my bicentennials and hang on to them. With that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I plan on doing a lot more coin roll hunts over the coming weeks and months. I've actually got a box of pennies I'll be working on next. But if you like this video, do take a moment, head on down below the video and click on that subscribe button, and then click on the little bell so you get notified each and every time I release a new video. And if you'd like, leave me a comment. I almost always respond, or at the very least, drop you a heart for your comments. So I'd love to hear from you. And if you can't do it, totally understand. You guys take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.